And welcome to the GAP, the Get Attitude Podcast, The Gap, bridging the gap from where you are to where you want to go and from who you are to who you want to become. Hello, my name is Glenn Bill, founder of the University of Attitude, keynote speaker, and author of the ABCs of Attitude, and I've been able to help tens of thousands of people get attitude. Attitude, the secret formula to success in your business and in your life, and this podcast will help you get yours. So let's get some. Hello and welcome, everybody. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. And if you like what you're hearing, we sure would love you to share this. Our podcast can be found on any platform, but we would love you to come and visit us at Facebook at the Get Attitude Podcast. Today, we are with the one and only Jeffrey Gitomer. Jennifer was the author, or is the author, of Sales in a New York Minute. Jennifer is a thought leader. She is extremely bright. She is one hell of a salesperson, and she is a bundle of energy that is contagious and attractive, and I promise you, you are going to enjoy your time. So strap in and enjoy the ride that Jennifer is going to take us on as you hear her story of growing up, becoming an entrepreneur, and a best-selling author. Jen, welcome to the podcast. Jen is the author of Sales in a New York Minute. She is the host of the incredibly successful Sell or Die podcast, as well as a featured keynote speaker all around the world. So welcome to the Get Attitude Podcast.
Thank you, Glenn. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I must say that I know that they're listening, but Jen has our attitude gear on today, and she looks absolutely fantastic. The Get Attitude gear is clothes that feel so good, they change your attitude. And looking at this beautiful lady, big smile, big brown eyes, and an awesome voice. And I love listening to your podcast, Jen. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you. You know, when you told me you were giving me a T-shirt, I was obviously grateful, but also skeptical because I knew I had to wear it. And most people's T-shirts are just
Right.
But your T-shirt actually rocks.
Yes, it does.
And when you look good, you feel good.
That's right. And it's the high thread count, the softness,
Oh,
correct?
Yeah. I love it.
And we think it's slimming. My wife loves it
It
because
is slimming.
Yeah, it takes like 10
really
pounds
well.
off. It's freaking crazy.
Maybe it should take 20, but you know.
Well, if I had clothes that could take 20 pounds off,
yeah,
shit, I would not have to do a podcast. I'd be making some big money.
Oh, man. But actually, the shirt is awesome. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Are so welcome. Well, as you know, Jen, April is Attitude Awareness Month.
Yes.
Global Attitude Awareness Month. And since you're a global speaker, it's appropriate that you're here. And what we're doing is we're focusing on our 10 attitude boosters, which if people do the 10 attitude boosters every day, you can't help but have a positive attitude, rock the world, and affect and be contagious to everyone that you meet and that you know. And you and Jeffrey have said, hey, we want to hone in on this one called Grow or Die.
Mm-hmm.
So the month of April, and you're going to be our fourth podcast on our show. So thanks for being in our first month. We're going to focus on Grow or Die. But first of all, tell us a little bit about Sales in a New York Minute and your book and how your journey started to where you're at right now.
Wow, that's a million questions. Okay, I'm going to start with my journey. How about that?
Yeah.
So I was a salesperson, sales manager, second in charge at a company, second in charge of sales. And after 6.5 years there, I realized it was time to do my own thing. And I was really good at helping other people make sales. And I was in New York, but I had a team that was from New York all the way to California. I had a 10-person team that grew to a ton of people because we started out at my company with, I think, 150 people, and overnight grew to 1,500 people when we sold to News Corp. It was crazy.
What business was it?
It was educational software.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
so we were helping kids learn how to read and do math. It was very, it was a feel-good sale because you made the sale and you knew you were helping people in such a tremendous way.
But it was highly profitable. Is it not? Is that business highly profitable?
Typically, software is highly profitable.
Yeah,
there were
okay.
good commissions. So I was rocking it, and it was a really tough decision to leave.
Right.
But I knew I needed to do my own thing and be able to impact more people way more people. And so that's why I started my company, Sales in a New York Minute. And that's also why I wrote the book, also called, you can tell I like the name,
Yes.
Sales in a New York Minute. It's 212 pages of real world strategies that you can use to make better relationships, build more sales, build loyal relationships, and basically live happier.
That's
live a more
good.
successful life. Yeah.
Well, you're a perfect fit for this podcast then.
Well, there you go.
I have a feeling that the people that are out there listening to this
Yeah.
may have a lot in common with you.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we talk about grow or die, when you how long ago was that transition?
So I started it in 2013.
In 13. So you've been
yeah.
at this for 6 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I know you wanted to do more. I could feel it. And I know that you have, I can tell, tons of potential in front of you. Like you're only scratching the surface of what you're getting ready to do. What was it inside of you that said, I got to get out of this educational software sales and grow, right? Just like the people listening, there's people that they feel like there's more to life for me than this. What was it for you?
So for me, I looked around and really the next job was the senior vice president of sales. And he had been in that position for, I don't even know, maybe 10 or 15 years. And he's still in that position today. Okay.
Yeah.
And I knew that he was their long-term guy and that I would not be able to move. I would not be able to grow there. And so I also knew that I just wanted to be able to do my own thing and I don't know, starting a business is a huge growth, because when you leave something that has so much security and you take that risk to say, okay, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to bet that I can make the sales, that I can deliver, that I can do all of those things. That's huge. And so I just knew that I wanted to be able to impact more people. And that's really what it was about for me. And be able to grow personally, both grow my bank account and also grow my potential and grow what I was doing because I felt somewhat capped.
And I think, again, the folks listening in, that corporate atmosphere, you can dedicate 10, 15 years of your life, right? And boom, you're done.
Yep.
It's gone.
Yep.
You mentioned growing pains, whether you knew it or not, the pain of growth. And I think that's something that we need to talk about. When you think about growth, do you associate it with pain? Or when you think about times in your life that, man, I've really grown here, what was the pain, the obstacles, the fear that you've had to overcome, and how did you do it?
So I don't normally associate the two directly because you either have a growth mindset or you act usually in fear or some sort of other mindset. And my mindset is very focused on growth, much because of the personal development stuff I've done and the lessons the courses I've taken, the books I've read, that kind of thing.
Cool.
But every entrepreneur and salesperson and really person out there goes through growing pains for sure, because you can't just go like this. And for those of you who are listening, I'm making like a vertical, just like you can't just shoot all the way straight up, right? You have to go a little up and then plateau and then figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get to the next level, and then keep going. But if you're in a moment where it could be considered a growing pain and you're focused on the pain, then you're preventing yourself from growing as much as you could because you need to turn it into, okay, there's some pain here, but what's the opportunity?
Right. You're a tough chick, aren't you?
I am.
And so my guess is you ain't focusing on pain.
I don't. Right. I don't think it's helpful.
Right.
I know that it exists, and when you see those like memes of entrepreneurs, they show like the up, down, up, down, up, down, and that could be just in one day.
Right.
But it's not helpful if you're focusing on the negative or focusing on the pain, because if you are, that's preventing you from doing all the good you need to do.
Right. The Jen Gluckow here is our guest. Attitude extraordinaire, Sales in a New York Minute. I love your book. I love your photo. I love that it's hardback.
Thank you.
It's a attractive book. Tell me, when it comes to grow or die in the attitude boosters, which one of these 212 principles could you maybe refer to that, I don't know, correlate with it, or that grow or die, would help you? Or I don't know. I want to know what's in your book. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, sure.
That's like
So
that.
in my book, one of the things I talk about is having a morning routine and having creating that successful foundation for your day.
Right.
So a lot of people wake up and what do? They press the snooze button.
Right.
Okay? That's like the first thing. The second thing most people do nowadays is check social media.
Right.
Why do you care who did what last night?
I don't know.
Okay? Or you check your email, which also
Accidental twing. Okay, keep going. So why the hell are you checking what somebody had for dinner last night at Pascala's?
Right, it doesn't matter. So you're checking your social media, you're checking your email, you're pressing snooze. Okay, so I adopted a morning routine.
Nice.
And that has helped transform my life because it creates the right foundation for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I do is I drink water because you wake up dehydrated. So I always drink a ton of water.
Do you measure it?
I do.
Do you know the formula?
I do. Yeah, I do. You have to drink half your body weight. But
half your body weight in ounces. Good job.
Yeah. I'm like a water fanatic, and my partner Jeffrey probably finds it really annoying because I'm always handing him water bottles.
That's good. That's why your skin looks so good.
Oh, thanks.
Beautiful skin.
Thank you. So the first thing I do is I drink water because water gives you energy.
Right.
People think coffee gives them energy, but it actually dehydrates you, and water actually gives you energy. So I drink water, and then I read and I write, and I do a series of things. I exercise. I actually have affirmations that I have recorded into this app. I listen to them. It's very a little woo-woo, I know, but I love it.
I do too.
I have a visualization for about a minute. I look at my vision board that I've created. And it just sets the right foundation for the day. I'm also a big meditator, so I like to meditate for about 10 minutes every morning.
Cool.
And I think and so I talk about that in the book as just one of the principles. But, if you can wake up and take some time for yourself, now you might be thinking like, well, how long is that? Is she like waking up at 4:00 in the morning? Like you can do this entire exercise in 10 minutes and you can do it in an hour, so it depends on how much time you want to really invest in yourself.
Well, what's cool to me is you get attitude, right?
Yes.
So it's so funny, like you get it. And do the people out there listening, are they getting it? And are they getting the awareness of what a morning routine can do? Are they getting the awareness of what Eat Right and Exercise, which is going to be week number 9, is all about? And certainly, water, our bodies are what, 70% water?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
I think so,
So it's like, our bodies need 2 things, water and oxygen.
Yeah.
And so like move and drink water. Let's talk. Go ahead.
I just want to add one thing.
Yeah.
Usually if I have extra time, I'll invest 15 minutes into something I'm trying to learn. And because that to me is all about the growth. So it may be French. It may be a digital platform. It may, I'm interested in all sorts of things, and I'm sure you as the listener are interested in all sorts of things. But when are you actually taking the time to learn them? And so if you do it for 15 minutes a day, all of the sudden at the end of the week, you've spent, I don't know what, over an hour.
Right, hour and a half,
Yeah, learning something new.
Awesome.
And to me, that's when you say like grow or die, I think about personal growth.
Right. Don't watch the news.
Right.
Would be the So, man, you're involved in a lot of great stuff, which I love. I think our listeners need to hear. What are your best sources of growth? Like what apps are there? What are you doing online? What are you reading? Give me 3 or 4 of the sources that, like, if somebody's miserable in their car right now and they need to get attitude, where would you point them?
So I read a lot of books, and Positive Mental Attitude.
Right.
Positive Mental Attitude by who wrote it?
Clement Stone.
Yes, and Napoleon
Awesome.
Hill.
Nice.
That is one of my favorite books on the planet. And also there's another book that I love called Dollars Flow Easily to Me.
Cool.
I don't know if you've read that one. It's very woo, but it's all about creating the right money mindset.
Nice.
And so find books that I think could be helpful, and I read them. Those are 2 recommendations.
I like it.
I also join Facebook groups that will further my. I don't really go on Facebook to find out about like who ate what pizza. I don't care, to be honest, or like whose baby is now 2. No offense to my friends. Your babies are all cute. They're very cute. But that's not why I go on Facebook. I really go on because I'm involved in a couple of groups where people are posting ideas and strategies.
Can you share those groups?
Well, some of them are like very, very user specific. So like Kajabi, for example, is my digital platform.
Okay.
And I really like the Kajabi user group.
Nice.
And then I'm involved in a high level mastermind. And so I go in the mastermind group. It's a next level coaching kind of group because there's other members in there posting about what they did and how it turned out, and they post their results and they do these debriefs, and then everyone gives, advice.
Right.
And so it's really cool because I'm learning through other people's doings as well.
Yeah. So you believe in masterminding, obviously. There's mastermind groups everywhere, and you're telling our people, go get in a mastermind.
Yeah, go join a group of people that you can bounce ideas off of and strategize with, and who aren't your competitors, but really want to help see you grow.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. Do you think growth is an attitude or a skill?
I think it's an attitude.
I like that. and why do you think that's an attitude?
Well,
what made you say that?
Yeah, because I think it's more of a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about how you need a growth mindset. But if you don't have the right attitude around growth, you'll never get any skills that you can acquire through growth. And so I think you need to believe it first and think it first. And it has to be in your mind before you can actually do any of it.
Jen, one thing I feel from you just sitting here talking to you is that you have the thought process. You own your own development. You own your own growth, right? And it's like it's not by chance. You're in your 30s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've written a best-selling book. You're a global speaker. You've started your own business. Congratulations to you. Good job. You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
I have friends that are, 50, 54 that, are still making $18 an hour. So good job.
Well, I hope they're listening to the podcast.
I don't know. They may be pissed if I just said it. That may not be good.
But you know what? I am obsessed with personal growth.
Yeah.
Like, I would take it even a step further because that is the one thing that I can control that's going to get me to the next level. Just like you listening out there, you're listening to this because you want to grow.
Right. And you know what else they should be listening to? Is that damn Sell or Die podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I can tell you this. Your book's awesome. I've seen you speak. You do a great job. But perhaps I think you're awesome.
Oh, thank you.
On this podcast stuff. You got a great voice. You got tons of energy. And so the podcast Sell or Die downloaded 100,000 times a month. That's absolutely freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Jen's actually helping me build my podcast, so thank you for your expertise, Jen.
It's a pleasure.
And what I want to know is you got this thing Sell or Die, right? And so now comes the morbid part of our interview. I want to talk about dying with you.
Do you need my estate documents?
And death. No, I do not.
Okay, because I haven't signed them yet.
Right. When you think about sell or die, right? Yeah. What's your thoughts on death? How do you deal with death? What are your feelings? Do you even think about it because you're so young? And have you lost somebody in your life that helped you grow when something like that happened?
So I try not to think about it because I compartmentalize, and this is a good thing and a really bad thing as well. I compartmentalize difficult stuff. So something like death, I sort of put in a box over there. Off to the side and really try not to think about it. But I have lost someone who was really special to me. My grandma Harriet, who basically raised me. She was like a second mom, but really more like a mom to me. And there are days where I literally pick up the phone to call her and remember that I can't.
Yeah.
And so she shaped me in so many ways. Wow, I'm tearing up thinking about it. But she just taught me the fundamentals that are so important, like being nice to people and being generous and never thinking about what the other guy has, always just being concerned with yourself and how you can help others and trying to dress nicely and look nicely and in her honor, because she always had perfect nails. This is going to sound really simple, silly, but in her honor, I always now have perfect nails.
And you have attitude nails, so red.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you.
So Grandma Harriet, how long ago did she leave us?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. And do you know what her sign was?
What sign?
Like her sign, her zodiac sign, her horoscope sign.
I don't know. She was June.
What sign? She was June?
Yeah.
So she probably was a Cancer, would be my guess.
Maybe.
Possibly.
That sounds right.
Do you know what your sign is?
Right. I'm a Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio?
Yeah.
Oh, my father was a Scorpio. Do you believe in the
I
signs
think that
and
they're
the
generally
zodiac?
true. I think that they're generally true, yeah.
That's true. So Grandma Harriet, was she your mother's mother?
My dad's mother.
Your dad's mother.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's to Grandma Harriet.
Thank you.
And we'll
you.
be thinking of her. So I guess to wrap this thing up, I like to do this little thing called the Challenge of the Decades.
Woo!
And I want you to just put yourself at the time of your life that I ask you for age.
Okay.
This doesn't need to be terribly profound, and we can edit out any dumb answers that you don't like. Okay.
He's already worried I'm going to have a dumb answer.
No, I know that, but I just know people get all freaked out. They're like, ah! So it's just how we wrap it up, and it's fun, but I want you to just free your mind and relax, and I want you to think about the best advice you could give the world when you were a newborn. You just came out of the womb. What's the best advice you could give the world as a baby?
Sleep through the night.
Atta girl. Sleep through the night.
Yeah.
You know what? That's some of the best health advice. They say that sleep is actually the #1 anti-aging formula in the world.
Look at that.
Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah.
But I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, no, trust me. 8 hours a night, it's amazing what it can do.
Wow.
How about when you were 10 years old?
I would tell my former 10-year-old self to read. Read a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, because reading is so important, and especially as an adult when you actually like to read, or if you're into personal development and growth, you will like to read.
Right.
Getting that foundation out there so that you're reading with comprehension is so huge.
Yeah, that's good. Coming from the business that you're in, that certainly makes sense, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And tough to grow if you ain't reading.
That's right.
If you're not exposing yourself to new information.
That's true.
All right, then the savvy 20-year-old, right? Or no, the sassy 20-year-old is what I want to know. What advice would the sassy 20-year-old give us?
All right. Buy something for yourself with your first paycheck.
Awesome. Great. Do you remember what you bought?
Yes.
Are you allowed to say it? No.
I bought the Speedy Louis Vuitton bag.
And that would have been your whole paycheck.
No, it was like 6 months of saving my paychecks.
My God. And do you still have that bag?
Of course. I'll never get rid of it. It's like an honor. It's pride.
Oh my! And what color is it?
It's the normal Louis Vuitton monogram print, but I was like dying for it, and I needed to earn it myself.
Right.
And I did, and I saved for it.
That's so cool.
But I would tell a 20-year-old, go buy something for yourself with your first paycheck and get in the habit of rewarding yourself when you feel you've done something good.
Jen, you really resemble the people that are listening to us. And so I just want to know, your sister's an attitude out there. Go make some money and buy yourself a damn Louis Vuitton purse, right?
Hell yeah.
Now, I don't know. Tell me real quick, is it the print? Is it just the aura of Louis, or is there a special pocket or a special zipper?
At the time, it was like the bag.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was Sex in the City and all that shit.
You can probably date me by that, but it was like the bag, and so I just,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So now we move on. You're starting to successful Jen, 30 years old, right?
Yep.
The woman of America, out spitting great knowledge for people and helping peers. Tell me best advice for 30-year-old Jen.
Be patient with love, because you will find the right person if you don't settle. So don't settle, basically, would be my advice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Jen, I want to thank you for coming. One of the reasons I just love interviewing people like you is your spirit glows. You have karma. You have energy. You believe in growing.
Yeah.
Your life is an example of growth. And I just hope that everybody who's listened to this podcast found inspiration in you.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, to know that they can change it. I just want to challenge all of our Attitude listeners here. If you like this episode, please share it with one or two of your friends. Join us on social media at the Attitude Movement and the University of Attitude. And Jen, I look forward to talking to you again to hear your 40-year-old person advice. Sound cool?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, good. Thanks so much. This is it for the Get Attitude podcast, helping you cross the gap from where you are to who you want to become.